I just filmed my entire intro without sound, so apologies if I'm not very enthusiastic this time. Welcome to the Reread Chronicles, or I Reread Chronicles, something like that. And for this first episode, I am rereading the Jamie Baker trilogy by Kelly Orm. So starting off with the first book being Jamie Baker, and then there's the second one, More Than Jamie Baker, and then Remember Jamie Baker. And essentially a 17-year-old girl, at least in the beginning of the first book, and an accident happens that gives her superhuman abilities. And not that you care or not that it matters, but I am wearing my glasses because I have an eye doctor appointment today. I'm going to try to at least start I don't know why I'm saying try, but start this book before I have to leave. And this video will be spoiler free, and I've never heard anyone talk about these books, so I'm doing this because, well, one, I don't think I've ever rated them on Goodreads or actually gave them a rating when I first read them because I didn't really use Goodreads, but also I just want to see if I feel the same about them now as I did when I first read them. Okay, I just want to read like these three pieces of dialogue. I don't really think it's not really a spoiler, so I just need to read it so you can understand like what I'm saying by the content. Like it just gives like the idea of like, oh, this content isn't really my favorite, but the writing is just so easy to read that like you don't care, but you care at the same time, if that makes sense. Jamie doesn't count. The chick's a total loner. Maybe she's just misunderstood, Ryan teased. Maybe she's just a cold-hearted freak. I don't know how to explain it, but like the content, say like the language of the chick's a total loner, it's giving not mature. It's giving the Wattpad vibes, you know? I don't even know if that makes sense to you, but alright. So I've been reading some more of this morning, and also just so you know, I'm washing my sheets and stuff, so that's why there's no sheets or anything. But I looked and double checked when this was published because I actually don't know when it was published. It was published in 2010. The first one. And I can definitely tell you that it's giving that era of the 2010s, if you will. I can see why I was able to binge these with the writing style, like the way it's, like the writing style, not what's written. Like the writing style is just easy to go through. It's very easy to read, like mindlessly read. Do enjoy mindlessly reading now from time to time, but now when I'm reading this, it's the content. I'm seeing that it's not something I'm the biggest fan of now. And I don't know if I was a fan of that then either. I just, maybe because I was in middle school, I read it differently, but also I did read these late at night, like back to back. Like I binged them. But I can tell like the difference from what I read now versus this trilogy. I don't know what it is. I don't know how to explain it other than maybe like think Bring It On mixed with Twilight.
How about you? You need to see what I look like.
I really don't want to compare it to this book, but If He Had Been With Me is kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of similar vibes, not the exact same, but similar vibes character wise, with at least from what I remember of that book. I didn't enjoy that book. Sorry. Alright, listen, I know I have a towel on my head. I just have to make this comparison really quick, even though I do think I tried to make a comparison to this earlier, but I didn't really have anything to like actually point out. But now my comparison of that is really shining through. And, okay, so like, think Twilight. This book, think Twilight, but the roles are reversed, so like, Jamie is Edward and Ryan is Bella, and we all know Bella's like, trying to get close to Edward, blah, 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 you know, and Edward's like, no, That's the vibe that this is giving, except Jamie is Edward and Ryan. As I was listening to it, as I was washing my hair, as you can see, I was like, wait, this is actually a comparison I can make, character-wise, not like content-wise, for the most part, other than being in high school. Though, there's no, how long have you been 17? A while. I enjoyed Twilight, okay? The book series. And I clearly enjoyed this at one point when I first read them. But me now, it's not the same. I'm not devouring it as I wanted to. Guys, yes, as we established, towel in the head. This kind of might be a mild spoiler, but at the same time, it's hard for me to not point this out. So, like, mild spoiler, if you've seen Twilight, though. Okay, so, you know how I made that Twilight comparison? I feel like I can make it again, because in Twilight, you know, there's this whole, like, car scene where, what's his name? Can't remember his name. And would have hit Bella if Edward did not, like, you know, vampire speed his way over there and literally dent the car with his hand. It's giving that, except Jamie is Edward in this scenario, but Jamie doesn't dent the car with her hand. But it's giving me too much Twilight comparisons. Is that what I enjoyed out of it when I was in middle school? Granted, I only watched the movies when I read these. Is that why I enjoyed it? Because it reminded me of the movies? I don't know. And this was published after the book Twilight too, so. And I hate to make comparisons to it, but like it's hard not to because that really reminded me of it. And like she's basically vampire. She's basically a vampire, but she's not a vampire. She's human, but with superhuman abilities, so she's basically like a superhero, if you will. And based on my rating scale, right now it's a 3, which is like average mid. I take back what I said. I take back what I said about her not leaving dent in the car. She left a dent in the car. So you cannot get mad at me for comparing it to Twilight now. This is just a quick little update because it's just there's not much for me to say. One, without spoiling. And I just cannot get the Twilight stuff out of my head, the Twilight comparisons out of my head, and it's not going to go away. And I'm sorry, but it is what it is. And I have to say it's too angsty for me, if that makes sense. Like there's like angst, but like not the good kind of angst that I want. I don't even know if it's angst at this point. Since they're teenagers in high school, they are all irrational, yada yada. It's not vibing with me. Just looking in here, there's a lot of exclamation points. There's like a lot of shouting / yelling, especially from Jamie. That's just something that personally bothers me. Like, you don't need that many exclamation points. I've also noticed the repetitiveness in this book. Like, shut up. Shut up. I get it. You have superhuman abilities. I get it. An accident happened with toxic waste. Like, friggin' zombies from Disney. I think it's Disney. Zombie movies, okay? And instead of turning into a zombie, you got superhuman abilities. Like, shut up. I know. You've stated this already. Shut up. I definitely did not notice all the repetitiveness when I first read these books, that's for sure. Or I forget, when I say that the whole plot is just her having superhuman abilities, I mean that, but at the same time there is this reporter element to it, so like there is some plot, but like at the same time it doesn't feel like there's any plot because the repetitiveness of her saying she has superhuman abilities. Alright guys, don't say anything. I just woke up at 7 a.m. I don't know why I'm awake right now. So like, obviously I can't say much about the ending of this book, but what I can say is that I kind of did give up, like, reading it. I kind of just skimmed the rest of it. Alright, okay. Alright. This first episode is not the best. Did not go the way I planned, but also I think I went into this video with expectations of, oh, I'm gonna love these just as much as I did, or like I'm still gonna really enjoy them, and that could be the case, but right now I'm just not in the mood to read these books like at all. So for the sake of me wanting to avoid a reading slump and not burn myself out on books in general, but to avoid a reading slump mainly, because if I'm forcing myself to read things that I don't want to read, I'm going to be in a reading slump, and I don't want that, and I don't think you want that. If you don't want to be in a reading slump, I don't want to be in a reading slump. So this first episode of the Reread Chronicles, whatever I'm titling it, the playlist might be Reread Chronicles, I don't know, is going to stop with only having reread the first book because I don't see myself, if I do it right now, read these right now, that I will enjoy them because I'm just not in the mood to read them. It makes me sad. It does. And I'm really sorry that this first video is not successful. I don't know why I'm sorry about that, but I want to avoid a reading slump. But also, if I want to be able to post book content on here, I need to try and avoid that reading slump as much as possible. So that is that. So I believe I rated this a 2-star on this reread. Just not for me. And it could also have to do with my reading taste have changed and evolved. But also, just some books won't hold up the same as some books would. But also the first book, I couldn't get past the really Twilight-y vibes that I was getting. Like, it was like a Twilight retelling in my brain, so. But I do still recommend you read them, or at least give the first book a shot, and keep in mind of when it was published. Give them a shot if you want to. Don't let my experience rereading this deter you, because once upon a time I binge these books, okay? I'm just not in the mood to read these books, so I tried to start reading the second one, but I was just not in the mood. I wanted to read something else. So, for the sake of me not getting into a reading slump, and for the sake of you, I'm ending this video here. And also, because if I was in a reading slump, there wouldn't be very many book videos being made until I got out of it. I'm not sorry, but I'm sorry that this video is ending when it's ending and not with reading this one. But these two will go back onto the TBR shelf because I still want to reread those as well. And I will maybe I can title that one like second try or something whenever I do try and reread them. If I was a bit of a negative, what's it called? What is it? Negative Nancy? Is that what it is? If I was a bit of a negative Nancy in this video, I'm sorry. I might have got a little ranty. I hope you enjoyed. And comment down below what's your favorite book to reread. And if you like this video, there is a like button. I hate saying this in the outro, but. And then, there's a subscribe button if you want to. You can subscribe, so then you can see more videos from me. I will see you in the next video. Bye.